Islamic art and fashion history, clothing in Arabia during the rise of Islam. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born in Mecca, Arabia in 570. In 610, when he was 40, he experienced something new. While retreating in a cave in Mount Hira, an angel appeared before him, commanding him to read. He responded by saying he was illiterate. The angel Jibril said he was sent by the one God Allah and that Muhammad was his messenger. Over the next 23 years, as he continued to receive revelations, he faced challenges, struggles, persecution by the Quraysh tribe. They opposed the messages the Prophet was receiving. The revelations focused on improving the ills in Quraysh society, which included idol worshipping, treating women like property, and bearing female infants. The Prophet's message from Allah included equality of people, avoiding oppression, giving women rights, and leaving behind tribal rivalries. Those that believed in the revelations were called Muslims, or submitters. Islam means submission or surrender to the one God, Allah. There are 5 pillars of Islam: the Shahada, praying 5 times a day, giving to charity or zakat, fasting during Ramadan, and pilgrimage to Mecca. The first person to accept the Prophet's message was his wife Khadija, a wealthy widow about 15 years his senior. Then many of his closest friends like Abu Bakr accepted the messages. Islam grew rapidly, then and into modern times, becoming the fastest growing religion in the world. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, passed away in 632 after falling ill. The revelations he received over 23 years became the Holy Quran, which is 114 chapters or surahs. Now, let's go over clothing and textiles during the Prophet's time. And in upcoming videos, I'll get into how the rise and expansion of Islam influenced fashion, art, architecture around the world. The basic articles of clothing in Arabia during the Prophet's time for both male and female included an undergarment, body shirt, long dress, gown or tunic, overgarment, shoes or sandals, or head covering. I'll get into more of detail about that, but first, let me give you some background info about the veil. Keep in mind, veils or head coverings were already being worn by Christians and Jews who continued a Syrian custom of veiling. Only noble women of Syria wore veils to the waist. Women wore veils in ancient Greece. Greek women covered their bodies and many wore the tegadion, a face veil. Women who veiled were considered high status in Greek society. In Mesopotamia, Byzantine Empire, and pre-Islamic Persia, a veil was a symbol of respect worn by elite and upper-class women. During the Roman Empire, women wore the stola or palla and covered their hair and often faces. During wedding ceremonies, they wore brightly colored flammeum. It communicated that she was married, faithful, and modest. So European women were wearing veils long before Islam arrived and continued to cover their hair until modern times. During the Prophet's time, the Quraysh tribe in Arabia was a male-dominated society. Women had no status and were treated like sex slaves. Many walked around topless. Unwed daughters and female slaves were paraded on Meccan streets by fathers or owners to attract suitors. In pre-Islamic Arabia as a whole, women's status varied according to laws and tribes in which they lived. Before the rise of Islam, women had no legal status, no property or succession rights. But this changed after Islam. The Quran gave guidance on dress as a way to protect women from public abuse. The new Islamic guidelines were closer to Jewish and Christian notions of propriety. Clothing and textiles in Arabia was influenced by climate, social codes, and socioeconomic status. In Arabian Mediterranean lands, people wore looser garments because it was hotter, in contrast to Central Asia, where garments were fitted closer to the body and limbs. Central Asians had invented horse riding and also invented pants and the high-heeled shoe and boot to connect with the stirrup. In general, early Muslims in Arabia maintained the same style of dress that prevailed during the pagan period, but with modifications. As I stated earlier, overall, both men and women wore similar articles of clothing, but what set them apart was the draping, accessories, colors, and fabric. Fabrics were an important trade in Arabia. Wool and cotton were primary textiles. Silk and linen were imported from Ethiopia, Egypt, Byzantine, and Persia. Arabia produced leather goods and homespun fabrics. The basic undergarment was the izar, a loincloth believed to have been adopted by Persians and Central Asians. In later Islamic times, the styles differed as turbans, pantaloons, knee breeches, long trousers, or close-fitted drawers. The basic body shirt was the qamis. The qamis was worn by both sexes. It was mid-length or full-length, long or short-sleeved. A robe or tunic was worn over the qamis, such as the thawb or the jubba, which was imported from Syria. Over the robe or tunic was a hulla, which was a long flowing coat. The Prophet wore one. There was the qaba, there was the faruj. Both men and women wore a cloak or mantle of some sort when in public, like the khamisa or the burda or bird, which was a wrap of striped woolen cloth produced in Yemen. The hebara was a striped garment similar to the bird. The Prophet was buried in a bird of hebara fabric when he passed away. The Prophet reportedly visited his companion Abu Bakr with the border of his bird over his head with a black headband. The imama or turban was worn in pre-Islamic times. The word turban derives from the Persian word dulband and Turkish tolibant. Later, the turban became known as a badge of Islam. Exchange or gift of a turban symbolized transfer from one authority to another. Men's beards were long and mustaches short. Women in early Islamic times covered their heads and faces and wore a jilbab. The three face veils were qina, litham, and burqu. Others were niqab and nasif. A woman without a veil was seen as a warrior with no armor. Men did veil too on occasion, using their outer mantle to cover their face. Very handsome men veiled their face to protect from the evil eye, and the end of a turban cloth served as a face veil to protect the wearer against dust and sand while riding. Footwear. Both sexes wore the na'al, made out of palm fiber or leather, or the khuf, a shoe or boot made out of leather. The Prophet preferred wearing a na'al and wore his double lace. The Prophet encouraged modesty and austerity in dress and did not like extravagance.